Hello and good morning. It's 10 o'clock on a Friday, and that means that we are ready to do some Google domination. Have you ever tried to do something and you failed the first time and you failed the second time and you're hoping that the third time will be right? If you've ever experienced that, then you know exactly what I am feeling today. So today is my third try at Chrome. The first two times, first time I didn't have any sound. The second time I had sound for part of it, but not all of it. So we're going to talk about Chrome today, as I firmly believe it's one of the best browsers out there. So let's get going. So one of the first things I want to show you is if you want to install Chrome, you can just simply do a quick internet search for Chrome browser, and it's an easy install. It'll install on any computer, whether you're on a Mac or a Linux machine or a Windows machine, it does not matter. And so I want to first go through the settings, and the way that you get to the settings is you look for the syrup drops over here on the top right hand corner of your screen, and then go to, and you're not seeing that. Let me get my desktop up there. I apologize. I'm still learning exactly which of these you can see and which you can't see. There we go. So top right hand corner, go to settings. And so we're going to talk about these settings, and the first thing that you're going to notice is that I am syncing to my email address. So if you have especially if you have a Gmail address, which that our organization, we use Gmail, if you have a Gmail address, you can sync to a specific computer. And what this means is that you can log into any computer, go into Chrome, and log into the browser. Okay, you're not logging in here. Sorry, you're not logging in here. You're not doing that. Okay, that's automatic. Just forget about logging in there. You're actually logging in here, and that's where if you go in and you add a person, it's going to ask you to log into Chrome. So actually, let me show you that first. So let's talk about personalities. So I'm just going to go to Manage People right here, and it's going to show me the different accounts that I've set up that I can log into. So I have my personal Gmail that I can log into, my Bethany Public Schools, an SGA account because I help them out with some games sometimes, my own personal jodybowie.com account, my SNU account, and my SNU education account. So if I wanted to add a person in the bottom, I would just click Add Person, and I would just leave that alone like that, and I would just click Add. And when it comes time to log in, if it says, are you already a Chrome user, sign in, yes, I want to do that. Make this bigger just so make sure you can see it. I am a Chrome user, so I want to sign in. And so it opens this window for you to put in your Gmail address. So if I did Jody at jodybowie.com, which is a Gmail account, I could then go and log in here. And if I have set up Chrome, I will have all the same extensions. I'll have all of these things up here. I'll have the same bookmarks. I'll have access to everything that I've ever set up in Chrome. So when it asks you to log into Chrome, do that. Because if you do that with multiple accounts, you can change your personality here. Like I can very quickly open up my Gmail, which I have set up very differently than my SNU account. They do different things. So you can personalize the browser to yourself. You can have one set of bookmarks under one personality, one set of bookmarks under another, and so on. So if you want to change your name and picture, you can do that here. you can change, when you look at this menu up here, you can change what you see there. By the way, if you want to remove someone, you just go to the Manage People, and it comes up here. And this person that I just added a minute ago, I'm going to click the syrup drops, and I'm going to remove that person. And it's going to show me what I'm removing, and yes, I do want to do that. And there we go. So I can close out this window. Okay. If you are coming to Chrome from another browser, you can export all of your bookmarks and settings, say from Safari. And it will actually, you don't even have to export it from Safari. It will go look at Safari and import them for you. So you'll have all of your bookmarks. You don't lose anything. It's kind of the same thing as getting a new phone, and they import all of your contacts and settings and all of those kinds of things. So just think about this up here as having different people in Chrome. I think of it as different personalities. One thing you want to be sure of is if you go to a public computer and you log in on Chrome, you want to be sure that you come back into the settings when you're done, turn this syncing off, and then go into Manage People and take yourself off of there. You want to be sure that you're logged out of Chrome once you leave. Otherwise, people have access to your stuff when they log into the computer. So something to think about. Autofill. So we can save a bunch of passwords. I don't save passwords, as you can see. I use a password manager called LastPass, and I recommend that more than I would do this, because if you use a password manager, it will auto-generate passwords for you. I don't know any of my passwords. I only know the password to access my passwords. And so that's another thing I can talk about later is password managers. But I usually will turn the offer to save passwords. Notice I have that turned off right here. And I'm going to keep that turned off. And you can auto sign in. If you're the only person and you're sure you're the only person who's ever going to use your computer, you can do that. That's not a problem. And so I've told it, don't ever save these passwords, like stop asking me. And that was when this was turned on. But now that I've turned it off, I could delete all of those things. Payment methods, you can have through Google Pay, you can save payment methods there. And I don't have that set up under this particular Google account. Sorry, I need to decline that phone call. I don't have those things set up under this account. I do under my personal account, though. Addresses and more, you can have saved addresses for phone numbers and email addresses and shipping addresses and all those kinds of things. You can save addresses here. I don't really mess with that too much. Okay, let's talk about the theme. So now we're going to talk about appearance and how you can personalize Chrome. So we're going to go to the Chrome Web Store. And if you go to chrome.google.com/web store, it will take you to the Chrome Web Store. Right now we're looking at themes right here. And so these are published by Chrome, by Google folks. And then you get down here and other people have submitted things that that you can install as well. It just depends on what you like. It generally serves you up things that you have used before. I used to use this Aerotrans Brushed Metal. I really liked that one. I like the dark theme. You know, you can have stuff that's different places and things like that. If you're into superheroes or whatever. So if you like different color, you know, it just whatever fits your personality, do a theme. And here's the thing. I would be only personalizing my SNU Chrome identity. I would not be personalizing my identity, my Gmail identity, because I have a different Chrome theme for this one. Looks completely different. I think, yeah, it looks completely different. So, FYI. Let's go back to settings. I don't use a home button because I don't have a home page, and I'm going to talk about that in just a minute. I don't show my bookmarks bar. When I open a new tab, my bookmarks bar automatically shows up, and that's something that Chrome does for you. So if I need to very quickly go to the Scratch Studio that I've set up for one of my classes, I can do that simply by opening a new tab, and my bookmarks bar is there. So I don't keep that bookmarks bar there all the time. I tend to keep as much stuff off of my screen so that I have as much real estate as possible. Again, that's just me. You can do whatever you want. This is Zoom. This is a font size, so notice that my font size is changed. I keep it on medium, which is what's recommended and what will be default. You can actually change what your font looks like, your custom font. If you like, you know, these different fonts, you can change those things. I don't really mess with that. I don't care enough about it. You can have a default zoom on your computer, so you know you're default at 125 or whatever. I usually leave it at 100 because I control or command plus or minus to zoom in, so I can fix that myself. Right now I'm at like 200%. Because I'm on a big monitor. If I were on my 13-inch laptop, I'd keep it at 100. This is a really nice feature if you press tab on a web page. So I'm going from link to link to link just by pressing tab. So you can see these different things are being highlighted, and that is actually a setting that you can turn on, and that setting is right here. This one, show warning before quitting, with its command on Apple or on a Mac and its control on a PC. I generally close out of things by just hitting Command Q or Control Q if I'm on my PC. This one, you can do this so you don't accidentally close Chrome. I prefer to have it turned off. I don't accidentally hit Control Q very often, so it's not a problem. Let's keep going. You can actually choose which search engine you'd like to use in your address bar, because when you open a new tab, if you want to search for something, I'm going to search for, instead of typing down here in this, instead of typing it right here, I'm going to type it up here in the address bar. That's called the Omnibar, is what they call it in Chrome. And so I'm going to search for NCES. And hit enter, and the NCES is the National Center for Education Statistics, something that I use in my class. And so notice that it searched in Google, but if I wanted to, I could change that to Bing or Yahoo or DuckDuckGo, or I could have all of these. I could have it search Amazon or Facebook or Flickr or whatever. I could have these as the default things that it would use as a quote-unquote search engine. If you wanted it to search Scholar.search in the address bar, you could do that. I don't typically do that. I keep it on Google. That's just me. But just know that you can change that. If Google Chrome is not your default browser, you would change that setting here. Every computer I have, it is the default browser because, as you have probably learned, from someone doing something called Google Domination. I'm a Google evangelist, and so I use primarily Google products only. And so let's talk about the behavior of the computer when we log in. Okay, so I'm going to close out a couple of tabs here, and I'm going to show you how this would work. So probably many of you, when you open Chrome, it's just going to open a new tab page. Or you could set it up where you could continue where you left off. I prefer to have it open a basic set of pages, which are actually the ones that I have here. And so let me just get rid of these, and I'll show you how very quickly you can set this up. So what you do is you open the tabs that you want. So I have my Gmail right here. I have my calendar. I have Drive. I have our learning management system, and I have self-service, which is where I take attendance and things like that. And so I click open a specific set of pages, and then I click use current pages, and here it will do the thing. So now every time I open Chrome, it's going to open these tabs automatically. So I don't have to keep going and opening those things over and over and over. They're just going to open automatically. Okay. One thing that I like to do is sometimes I'll go in and edit this. If the address is not exactly like I want it, like for instance, if I wanted to do this, I could just hit save. And if I wanted this just to be not the inbox, but I wanted to just open that address, it would be a little bit different. And you can see how the title changed as well. So there you go. That is what you would do if you want to change the behavior on startup. And that's a really handy thing. That saves me a lot of time because I can come into my office, log into my computer, open Chrome and walk away, and when I come back, my mail is up, my calendar's up, my Google Drive is up, my learning management system is up, and my self-service page is up. So that's kind of nice. We will talk just very briefly about the advanced settings. If you turned this Chrome sign-in off, you would be getting rid of the ability to do these things right here. So I leave that on. Prediction service, I like that. I like for it to try and guess what I'm thinking when I'm typing in. Sometimes I wonder if it's not actually listening to me, but that's a whole nother story. I'm kind of joking when I say that. I do keep safe browsing turned on, and I want to send some information to improve safe browsing. I'm all about crowdsourcing things, so if I can send my information to Google and it makes their product better, I'm fine with that. I don't have an issue with that. You may not want to do that. You may have an issue with that. That's okay. Just turn that off. And then these things down here, if you ever needed to clear your cookies or your cache because you're not able to open a particular web page or something, in the advanced is where you would do that. Down here, I'm kind of skipping over some things because they're not really that important. The location, where do I want my files to go? So I could change this where they would go to my desktop if I wanted to. And so it would download everything directly to my desktop, but I'm not actually going to do that. I'm going to leave it on downloads. You can turn this on if you like to choose where it's going to be saved before you download it. And then printers and Google Cloud Print, I'm not going to mess with that. And then if you wanted to reset everything back like it was when you first started with Chrome, you can do that here. Okay, so that's enough about settings. Let's move on and talk about some other things. In the Google Chrome Store, so I'm going to go to the Chrome Store here. One of the things, by the way, that it will do with new tabs is it's automatically set up to like sites that you visit pretty often. It will keep those here where you can very quickly just click on that and open the page. Now again, I have this set up where that page automatically opens, so that's not a big deal, but it automatically shows your address bar and automatically shows you places that you normally go or kind of go that it thinks you go pretty often. Okay. One thing I want to point out is you always have a Gmail link here. You always have, this is an image search. So you can click on images and quickly search for images. So if I wanted to search for Southern Nazarene University, this is just searching images automatically. Notice right here that I'm already on the images search and just searching for SNU, and it comes up on the all. Now one thing that you can do that's really interesting is you can actually find out where an image came from simply by doing a reverse image search. So what I'm going to do is you can search by image, and so you can paste an image URL, so you can actually search an image, but you actually can just drag it into this bar. So what I'm going to do is, let me close this. I'm going to search for an image that I created myself, and so I'm just dragging this from my desktop, and I'm going to drop the image here. And this is a goofy picture that I've done of myself, and it's going to search the web for that image. Oh, possible related search, gentleman. I guess it thinks I'm a gentleman. It looks at the size. It doesn't find anything. So it's searching the web based on this image, but it also, so it's looking, these are visually similar images. Most of these guys are bald, so that makes sense because I'm bald. So I guess Google thinks that I look similar to this, and so that's kind of funny to see what it thinks I look like. It thinks I look like, oh, it thinks I look like Tom Hardy. Okay, I'll just stop there and Jason Statham. So I'll stop and just take that as a compliment and we'll move on from there. So that's a reverse image search anyway. Something I didn't plan on talking about that, but it's useful. It's something you can do. The other thing that you can do when you're searching is you can search by voice. And I'm not going to use that feature right now, but whether you're doing a Google image search, you're doing just a regular Google search, let me go to a regular Google tab. I can simply click on this and talk, and it will listen to me. I don't even have to type in what I'm wanting to search. So because I'm using a microphone right now, I'm not going to do that because I don't want to mess that up. But just know that very quickly, this is also if you have the if you have Google Chrome on your phone or the Google app on your phone, you have what's called the Google Assistant, which is what this search by voice is actually using as the Google Assistant. So you can tell it to put reminders on your calendar and all those kinds of things. So I'm sorry, I'm talking about mobile apps instead of Chrome. So let's get back to Chrome. You've always got your waffles right here where you can see all of your Google apps. And if you don't see what you want, you can go down here into the more. Like if you were looking for Hangouts or Keep or something like that, a Jamboard, which is something brand new that I've very explored just minimally. Google Translate, all those kinds of things. You can actually add a shortcut here, which is kind of nice. So, yeah, so don't forget about using the waffle, and that's always there anytime you're in any Google page. My waffle is right here at the top. My waffle is right here at the top. So you always have a waffle to get to your Google Apps anytime you're on any Google type page. So it's there on my Gmail, it's there on my Drive. It's much smaller here, but it's there. Same thing on my calendar, okay? And that doesn't matter if you're on Chrome or not, but that's kind of handy. Okay, what else do we want to talk about on Chrome? How about we talk about all these little icons right here that you may not be able to see very well, but these are called extensions. And so I'm going to go to the Chrome store. Just going to go to the store. Nope, that is not where I thought I was going. That is the actual Google store. So I want to go to the Chrome store, which I have in a bookmark right here. So I'm just going to use that. I could also search for Chrome store, and it would take me here. This is where we were when we were looking at themes a few minutes ago. Right now, though, we want to look at extensions. And so extensions, let's just search for teachers. Actually, let's don't search for teachers. Let's just go to extensions. So we're just going to look at all the extensions that are here. Maybe. Let's go to more extensions. There we go. There we go. That's what I wanted. So these are all related to teaching. You could search for productivity. Let's search for productivity extensions. So time tracker, productivity owl. I have no idea what that is. Todoist. It's a do list and a task manager. I've used that before. Lots of things here, and these are all things that actually are installed on Chrome, which is why you see all of these little tiny icons up here beside my address bar. I know those are hard to see, but we're talking about right up here. So let me talk about some of my favorite extensions that I use. One of those is called OneTab, and if I open OneTab, what it does if I click on one tab, it just took all of the tabs that I had open and it collapsed them, and I now have links to those tabs. So I can save any group of tabs. I could actually share those tabs as a web page. So for instance, here are my EdTech Spring 2019 websites. So these are all sites, links to websites that my students have used. If I want to open everyone's websites, all I have to do is click on Restore All. If I wanted to share a link to these websites with my dean or my department chair or something like that, I could click Share as Web Page, and it would come and have this one tab web page that I would take and send this link directly to my dean or my department chair, or I could send them this QR code. They could scan it on their phone or their tablet, and they would have access to these websites. So for teachers, this is a great way to group resources into a single web page rather than group resources into a single web page rather than having students type in addresses. They could come in, you have this QR code up on the screen in front of the classroom, and you say, okay, open this QR code and you'll have the resources that we need for class today. That's going to be much faster than saying, go here, go here, go here, and go here. I don't know if you've ever seen a bunch of third graders trying to type in addresses on an iPad, but it's tedious, can be frustrating. So this is a much better way where you simply click and you have a link to what they're doing. So one tab is one of my favorites. It's a nice way to save a bunch of tabs and come back to those things. The one next to that is called Screencastify, and Screencastify is a screen recorder. You can record a browser tab, your desktop, or just your webcam. So that's another way that I could actually create content for people. Of course, I'm not going to click on anything because that would mess with my YouTube Live event that I'm streaming right now. Sorry, you're not seeing that. There we go. Now you're seeing it. And, you can change which microphone you're using. You can change which camera you're using and so on. And it just records your screen. I like recording the desktop because I have a tendency to go between different tabs. So that's just me. Let me close this out. Okay. Probably my third favorite is called Clipboard History. And Clipboard History, it says 7.3K on the icon. That means there are 7,300 different things since I've been using this that it has saved. It's saved a history of my clipboard. So everything, if you've ever had a browser crash and you lost a bunch of text that you had on your clipboard or something like that, Clipboard History will take care of that for you because I can access pretty much every single thing that I have ever used. I mean, like if I'm coding, like right here, I'm using different code. If I'm using numbers or whatever, it'll save every bit of that. So it's kind of nice. It's pretty handy. I talked a minute ago about my password manager. And so this is one way that I access LastPass is by using this extension. And so this is how I can save all of my passwords in one place. So I have probably about 500 different sites, and I don't use the same password over and over. I have one password that gets me in here, and that is how I can access my passwords. So for gmail.com, if I wanted to launch that, it would launch it and autofill my password. I have no idea what the password is for that account. So all of these different things all have passwords, and it will create passwords for you so that it's all here. Plus, I have them all saved. I have that same thing on my phone, that app on my phone. So that's a pretty handy way to keep track of everything. I have an Amazon Assistant. I have a shortened URL. So if I have, say, let's say I have Google Domination up, and I have this big long website right here, big long address. I could shorten that simply by clicking on this one right here, and I would click there and it would shorten that address for me and it would make it into something very short. So can't use goo.gl anymore, but I can use bri.is, and I can just copy that and send it out. It's much easier to send this address to someone than to send this address to someone. So that's just a URL shortener. It's a one that I can use. That's not one I normally use. I use Rebrandly. I pay for that one. And it's a way that I have a personal, like, I can create a link to a document that's jbowie.me/whatever I want it to say. So that's just something that I do. Evernote is a note-taking program. It's a place that I keep all of my stuff for my dissertation and all of the research that I've done during my PhD. I have every single article I've ever read saved there. And so these are basically just shortcuts, because let's say that I'm on the SNU library page or the SNU page. If I'm on a page and I want to send this page to my Evernote, I can simply click that and it will make me log into Evernote right now, but in theory it would send this whole page to Evernote. So it makes things much quicker. Buffer, that's for social media. Googly Eyes, you gotta love Googly Eyes, because it will look on the page and it will find pictures and it'll put Googly Eyes on it. So our new provost now, he has Googly Eyes, and that's completely automatic. I didn't even have to do that. All I had to do was click the Googly Eyes. So that one's kind of silly. These other ones are some security things. I've got a clock there. Just some different things. So there are a ton of extensions that you can look and find and use to make things better for you and make you more productive. Oh, see, it's every time it sees a face, it's putting Googly Eyes on for me. Isn't that fun? Your students would love that, I guarantee it. So, I mean, I could do a whole hour just talking about extensions, so I'm not going to talk much more about extensions, but I just want you to be aware that those are there, and you can go find them. So, other things on Chrome, probably the main super secret thing that I would want to teach you on Chrome is if you've ever closed a tab and you didn't mean to and you want to get that tab back really quickly, you can simply hit either Control on a PC or Command on a Mac, Shift-T, and it will open the last tab that you closed. And you can just keep doing that, and it will keep opening tabs in reverse order of what you closed them. So it's just continually opening things up. So as I close things, I can simply Control or Command Shift-T and open those tabs back up, which is a really handy thing if you've ever closed a tab and forgotten about it. Or, sorry, not meant to close it. You didn't forget about it. You just didn't mean to close it. Okay, so I hope this has been something useful for you in thinking about using Chrome. Probably the two main things I'd like you to get out of this would be thinking about the Chrome identities, signing in with different accounts into Chrome so you can switch very quickly between them, especially if you have multiple Gmail accounts, and the Command Shift-T, Control Shift-T to open previous tabs. That's just a really handy thing, I think. So if you have questions, don't hesitate to email me at jodybowie@gmail.com. And I will talk to you later. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. I think we have been successful. My mic is not muted. You're actually hearing me. So I think we've been successful in talking about Chrome today. Hope you have a great afternoon and good rest of the day. And we will talk to you later. See ya. Bye.